Oh, brother. Here we go.
Massive companies start to show signs of failure and going down the path of collapse, I'm often reminded of the late great Blockbuster, God rest its soul. The pioneer who really did it first. A company deemed too big to fail, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. And since then, there's been a couple other companies that have gone down a similar path, and right now there is a new one pulling a blockbuster, Niji Sanji. Whether or not you're a huge VTuber
Oh my god, he actually pronounced it right. I swear to God, watching Asmongold last night, that guy does. I don't know why he can't pronounce Niji Sanji right. It's just so simple, but
and you're at least familiar with the industry. VTubing is huge, and it has been for years now. It's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions.
How long is the
And in this
video?
space,
It
there are
is
two
26 minutes.
agencies that stand atop the others as kind of the titans of the space. It's Hololive and Niji Sanji.
No.
Niji
It's just Hololive. Let's not even bother naming Niji, okay? Let's not even bother, okay? Hololive is king.
has an English branch that right now is going through one of the most foul displays of mismanagement, cruelty, and just downright terrible business practice I've seen in quite some time. It's a real head scratcher because every single day they continue to dig themselves a deeper and deeper hole. It's like this company is run by a Voltorb that is obsessed with using the move self-destruct.
Shut up, it's
just
not going to take 2 hours.
On burying itself. So I definitely wanted to talk about it now that I'm fully caught up on the situation. There is so much to go over. There's a really good video that breaks down like the main timeline here for what happened. And it comes from Mujin. I'll go ahead and play the main catalyst for this. And then I'm going to actually turn to a series of Reddit comments that were left that I think go over the entire history of the Niji Sanji problems that have come to light, and then fast forward to what just happened last night, where an even bigger controversy just unfolded. So there really is a lot to cover, and all of it's looking terrible for Niji Sanji, the English branch.
Is that the same? Chad, is that the same Mujin that got roasted for the China tweet for being misinformation? Yeah. I'm sure his Niji video is accurate, right? Surely.
Now, when I first was made aware of this on stream a little while ago, I said that I'm not even surprised by it because a lot of these VTuber agencies have a history of some very terrible things going on behind the scenes. Many of you know I started my own agency for YouTubers and streamers a while back called Human Media Group. We recently merged with Jimmy Here's group and became Mana Talent Group. And over the years, I've actually seen a couple of these VTuber contracts that they were formerly under. And it is downright evil what some of them were doing to the talent that they manage. I obviously can't get into the specifics of it, but it is some horrible stuff, that some really bad stories and bad things that we saw from that. But even being familiar with some of the horror stories that we'd learned over the years from some agencies, I was shocked to see just how bad Niji Sanji was here. So I want to focus more on the most recent stuff that just happened, but I still would like to give you a foundation for what started all of it. So for that, I'll turn to this clip from Mujin's video that breaks down this whole situation and just give you the catalyst. This was the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, fundamentally, that kicked off this world war against Niji Sanji, all of which they brought upon themselves by being just complete, unreasonable, evil assholes.
It all started on Christmas Day, a day you're meant to enjoy with family. It couldn't have gone worse. The trigger for this entire catastrophe? A music video. Selen had worked on a music video for her fans. She paid $15,000 out of her own pocket because Niji Sanji wouldn't fund it. And on top of not funding it, what do? They take down the video in under 24 hours. No explanation to the public. Remember what I said about corporations and how they have access to all social media of their VTubers? Yeah, that's what happened, and she couldn't do anything about it. All she could realistically do under the very tight contracts and NDAs of a corporation is make up a vague tweet, sort of explaining what's going on to her fans.
Selen was a VTuber that was very popular and was with Niji Sanji's English branch. And she had a history
She's
of
full
being
control.
super...
It's because I talked about this yesterday, right? This is why I think more people should, like, I don't know. So it's like this, right? Being an indie VTuber and building your platform from the ground up is very hard, right? It's like any other streamer, right? It's very hard. But being a corporate VTuber, right? If any VTuber right now was given a chance to join Hololive, and I would say Niji Sanji here, but obviously I don't think anybody wants to join Niji Sanji right now. But like, let's rewind to like maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, right? People would be like, "Oh my God, Niji Sanji or Hololive, I want to get in there." Why? Because it's just a free ticket up to the top, right? Instantly, you will be big. But the trade-off is probably giving up almost all creative control, giving up all control over your social medias, all your YouTube videos, everything, right? You pretty much are at the whims of the corporate. All right. I will say though, from what I know about Hololive, it's definitely not as bad as Niji Sanji, but Hololive still is very controlling of everything as well, right? Because it is still a corporate business, right? So it's like it's a trade-offs, right? One, if you're indie, it's very hard to grow, but if you do grow, you have full control of everything. Whereas corporate, you instantly get to the top, but you also don't have control over anything.
Super involved in her community. She called them Dragoons, and she wanted to do a special music video for the community and paid $15,000 out of her own pocket to make it happen for the fans.
At least Hollow allows you to keep your side gigs. Does Niji Sanji not let you keep your past life platform? I actually don't know about that. Niji does not let you stay. Wow, that's just, yeah, that's just kind of shit, you know? They can't even voice act. What is this? Okay. Like, Niji Sanji is, yeah, that sounds extra scummy. The reason why a lot of Hololive VTubers, the reason why I think a lot of Hololive VTubers are okay with, like, maybe some of the treatment that they do get, right, in terms of creative, restrictions and stuff, is because, like, a lot of them do still maintain their alternate accounts, right, and continue to do things there, right, and that I did not know Niji Sanji does not allow that. That's like extra cringe. What the fuck, bro? It seems like Niji Sanji does that to probably like pigeonhole VTubers even more into a position where they don't want to give up. They don't want to quit Niji Sanji because they know if they quit Niji Sanji, they won't have an easy platform to go back to, right? The thing with Hololive is a lot of these Hololive VTubers, they continue their side gig. They continue their alternate selves. And at any point, if the Hololive does go downhill, they can just transition right over. I will tell you the vast majority of Hololive VTubers have a very big platform as their alternate side gig, right? And that it's just very fucking shitty that Niji doesn't allow that. Most of Hololivers have basic level creative freedom. I think relatively Coco or Kason in this case just had way bigger want for creative freedom. Yeah.
Posted it, thinking that it was totally okay to do because she self-funded it when Niji Sanji declined to, but they made a big stink about it and took the video down, even though she had permission for the song that was used and even though it came from her own piggy bank instead of theirs. They didn't like that it didn't get the proper approval through the internal management. Because the way Niji Sanji runs their company, it's with a fucking iron fist. You need permission to fart on stream as a VTuber under that agency.
Actually.
And since she didn't get all of the proper channels to sign off on it, they took it down. Which, of course, was a huge hit to Selen and her community because they worked very hard on that project. So she made a vague statement explaining that, well, management took it down, but she actually encouraged her community to re-upload it across the platform because she wanted it to live on. And she assumed that...
Is VShojo also well known? Yeah, but not to the same extent. VShojo's like... It's like... What's like the best example? If Hololive is like Samsung or like Apple and Niji Sanji is like Samsung, VShojo would be like
damn, I had a full day of classes
Motorola
and still on Jinshit XDD.
Or Sony Ericsson. You know, it's like they're small, they're getting okay, no, maybe that's not a good example. Those are like dying companies. Maybe I'll say OnePlus, yeah, OnePlus or Google Pixel, maybe those are like better examples of phones that are up and up, like they're smaller right now. They're definitely not even close to as well known, but they're growing and they're like getting bigger and bigger,
That would be okay because, it's not on her channel.
The Google Pixel is big. I don't think the Google Pixel is nowhere close to Samsung or Apple. What? What are you smoking, bro? What? It kind of is overseas. Really? Huh? I really don't think so. Yeah, it's big. It's not top of the line. VShojo is big. It's not top of the line. You do know VShojo is still big. I'm not saying VShojo's tiny. I'm not trying to say VShojo's like BlackBerry, bro. Like VShojo's still big. They have huge names like Iron Mouse in it, you know? So I think Google Pixel's probably a great comparison here, you know?
Anymore, so they shouldn't have a problem with it, but they did. This soured relations between Selin and Niji Sanji, and behind the scenes, it led to a lot of harassment and bullying from Niji Sanji against Selin.
Google as a vendor
Because
is like
out
5%
of nowhere,
right
on
now?
December
Oh my Jesus
27th,
Christ.
she tweets on her account, I
Why is
apologize
he
for the
so-
silence. I've been in the hospital after an accident and will be staying there for a few days to be under supervision. I just got back access to my phone yesterday. Now, of course, people were happy she was out of the hospital, but the concern was still there. It was very vague and people didn't know what was going on. The Selin Tatsuki termination notice. I will not be silenced anymore. On December, I was hospitalized for an attempt that was caused by a buildup of bullying from within and being in a toxic and poor environment for numerous months that led to my breaking point. I requested to leave first, but on more neutral terms on the 26th of January.
Obviously, I chopped this up and Frankenstein together this little segment to give you a very concise timeline. So, Selin made a post about how she's going to need to take some time away after an accident that landed her in the hospital. Everything was very vague. Eventually, she explains that she's been discharged from the hospital, and then shortly thereafter,
Editor, please
Niji
volume, that's what I'm
Sanji
saying.
English branch
Is this
announced the
Asmongold? How
termination
dare
of
you.
Selin Tatsuki.
This is
The
moist
termination
critical.
letter is very poorly explained as to why she's
He has
exactly
way more
being
hair than
fired.
Asmon.
Now, when it comes to VTubers, there's two ways that departing a company goes. One is a graduation stream where they graduate from the company and
This
it
is
means
Jesus.
that they are leaving on good terms. So they have like a big send-off farewell stream and that's the end of it. Sail off into the sunset, sunshine and rainbows, it's a happy ending. You get the good ending. Or there's this, where you just get publicly terminated and just fucking slapped down by the company like this. And in this case, obviously, Selin got the latter, where they just said, she's gone. Now, if you're not familiar with VTubing, when you sign with an agency like Niji Sanji, they basically own you. They give you your VTuber avatar, they own all of your socials, your channels, everything. You are unable to operate with any type of autonomy. You are under their thumb, and they basically own all of it. So she lost access to everything here, and she actually didn't even know she was being terminated. She found out when this tweet dropped. They didn't even notify her. And the tweet, again, is very poorly explaining things. They talk about Selin like it's a fucking IKEA furniture tutorial on how to put it together. It's just like talking about a bunch of nonsense about authorization flows not making sense and whatever. And then they cite like the music video and how when she made the tweet that management took it down, it damaged their brand and caused problems for them, this and that. It was just fucking stupid. A bunch of dirty barnacles. And then Selin went to her original account, her original brand of Doki Bird, to explain what actually happened is that due to the harassment and bullying and the toxic environment Niji Sanji created, she made an attempt on her own life and landed in the hospital. Luckily, she survived and is still with us today, but she no longer would be silenced by this company and bullied into being silent, so she started to explain what happened behind the scenes that led to all of this stress and all of these problems. She lawyered up and is engaged in now a legal battle with Niji Sanji, presumably, that is being worked on. And that is where all of this really started. That's when the floodgates opened. And with all of this information out there now, people were able to go back to some previous Niji Sanji talent with a finer tooth comb and see that the signs of a sinking ship had been there for quite a while. Signs of a company that mistreats
Is this about
employees,
Zion?
Signs of a company that is mismanaged and just downright diabolical behind closed doors, and I want to go over that.
Yeah?
Because we have a lore master in the comments section of a live stream fails clip that I think does an extraordinary job of
Holy
just laying
shit.
all of this information out. So our guide is Weebshitter69. A great name for a great philosopher. So Weebshitter starts by explaining what Niji-sanji is and how big Niji-sanji is. And then takes us back to the past. March 10th, 2023, one of Niji-sanji's newer talents, Zion Lanza, was terminated, which again is being fired.
Bro, I will say, right, for anyone that doesn't know, this is Sayu. You guys, if you've been around in my community long enough, you've probably seen Sayu here and there. But, bro, she has such a nice model. You know, Zion's model was really clean. So it is really sad, you know?
Publicly, and then put out this bullet point list of the infractions that they accrued.
They terminated
and
Zion?
at the time,
Oh,
people
what?
sided with Niji-sanji, but then stated that the way they handled it was a little unprofessional, especially coming from a multi-million-dollar company, and just overall not great. But since Zion no longer had access to their accounts, she returned to her original account that she had before joining, which was Sayu Synchronicity. Now, if you
I
followed
think some
this
of you
story
guys are misunderstanding this. I don't think this post and like others are trying to justify everything Zion did, right? Obviously, we can all recognize that Zion did make some mistakes of her own. But the point is that there were clear signs of what Zion went through that probably were, you know, the same cause as to why Selen went to the same things, you know? Went through the same things. So like it's not justifying some of her very distasteful jokes and stuff like that. This is just talking about how the system is broken, you know?
for a while, you've probably seen this meme tossed around about Sayu was right, or Sayu trying to warn us, and this is what they're referring to. On that account, she revealed more information about her own experiences inside the company, hinting at a
Stop
toxic
saying
environment
Ziox! Who's saying Ziox? Her name is Zion, not Zionix, not Ziox.
competent management and bullying, stealth suspensions, etc. And she further stated that she hopes other talent realize their own worth and that they deserve better. Some people sided with Sayu, but most didn't at the time. Then in May of 2023, Selen Tatsuki hosts a contest letting her fans design her next outfit. Niji-sanji management tried to put a stop to the very
Oh, I'm not even leaking, bro. This literally says Sayu's right here.
act of compensating the artists for their designs, while also trying to assert that artists who enter the contest should hand over the rights to the artwork for free. Selen refuses this notion and pays the winners out of her own pocket instead. She, a while after that, hinted that management no longer allowed her to organize events anymore, which sounds about par for the course for a company like Niji-sanji, where July 8th of 2023, Nina Kosaka graduated, meaning they left on good terms, had a farewell stream, but then comes back later with V Shoujo, which is another VTuber agency, as Matara Khan. That information will be pertinent later. August 27th of 2023, Mista Rias also graduates, saying that he was burnt out and no longer had any drive, and reappeared shortly after as K9 Kudo as the first male VTuber in V Shoujo. Again, information that'll be important here soon. Once they settled in, statements from both of them saying how surprised they were that management in V Shoujo were actually helping them achieve their creative aspirations started to come out, and how they finally feel like they have worth after being repeatedly told by some that they did not.
Retirement home? I don't really like to call Vishojo a retirement home for them. I think it's more more like greener pastures, you know? And Vishojo is from what I've seen, a completely different type of system than like Niji-sanji or Hololive are, right? It is very much more westernized, I feel, you know? And so it's probably a lot better for these talents as well. Because like you're essentially working, joining Hololive or Niji-sanji, you're essentially working with like a Japanese work culture, you know? So I think Vishojo is probably a lot better for a lot of these EN talents.
Echoing Sayu's previous statements, even revealing that they did not receive
a lot of VTubers I think like Vishojo. And surprise, the only VTuber who didn't like Vishojo was Uruha Rushia. Alright, Nazuna, she had a huge whole fucking hoopla about how she's not getting enough money, all this shit, bro. Like, listen, get
plaques on their own channels during their time in Niji-sanji, but rather that the company kept them. So Niji-sanji
your
kept
waifu?
the plaques.
Rushia was never my waifu. Stop pushing this narrative, motherfuckers. That's Tianins in chat, alright? Rushia was never my waifu, okay? Jesus. Pecora, sure. Suisei sure, Toa sure, Marine sure, never Rushia motherfucker. She wasn't even in my top 5.
From the YouTube channels, meaning the 100,000 subscriber play button or the gold play button for 1 million. The talent didn't even see that, which
That's man.
is such a scummy thing to do, obviously. Now, while Sayu was a relatively new member of Nijisanji at the time, Nina and Mista were considered cornerstone, thus the tides started to slowly turn. And then they jump a bit forward in the timeline, and that's when they fast forward to the Selen Christmas catastrophe.
Bro, this shit is like, this guy's actually a lore master, bro.
With the music
He's
video
got the
that
whole
taken down by
timeline. He got the whole
management.
biblical
and then
timeline
in January, with the departure of Pomu Rainpuff, more people started to wonder how bad things were at Nijisanji.
No,
Pomu
Pomu.
Rainpuff was one of their biggest VTubers and shocked everyone when they announced their graduation in January. And it was even more shocking when people didn't hear from Selen since they were friends. So that's when people started to worry about her safety. And then in February, another liver named Kyo Kaneko announced the graduation, which again brought the community into an uproar, wondering, why is there so many people departing all at once here? Is there like a waiting list, like this fucking purgatory or something with people waiting to go to the other side? And then on February 5th, Nijisanji released that termination notice. And that's when Doki Bird talked about what actually happened with her hospitalization following her unalive attempt that was built up from the stress that Nijisanji put upon her, and a lot of information started to come out, both from artists and other people who had previously worked with them, claiming that working with Nijisanji was never very good. There was delay in payments, NDAs being sent multiple times with the wrong name, just so many different things. But Selen had always paid the artist out of her own pocket during this period of turmoil while trying to work with Nijisanji. And following all of this new information coming to light, the public was understandably outraged, because this is just some deplorable garbage. The dam broke and they were flooded with tons and tons of angry fans. The tornado blew through and picked up 500 septic tanks, and the shitstorm that came with it was something that Nijisanji couldn't have possibly predicted. So Nijisanji's stakeholders started to suffer. They lost several sponsorships because of all of this. Apparently their stock price, like their valuation or whatever, started to plummet as well. It was a huge hit to their company, and it only continues to get worse by the day. So Selen revealed that she had spent like $250,000 of her own money on projects.
Bro, am I reading that right? Mista accidentally slipped up and said Niji talents only get 1 to 2% of merch sales? What the fuck? Huh? That is disgusting, bro. I think even Hololive gets a little 10% or more, bro. And that's still shit. What the fuck? 1 to 2%? Hollow gets 50? Do they? Oh, okay. Okay, damn. Hollow gets 50? Now, is that 50% after, like... No, not after any cuts, just 50% just fully? Like, okay. I mean, that's crazy. Damn. All right. Yo, damn. Hololive just fucking Giga Chad. Hey, Hololive just be winning.
Year there, so she made no
Queso
profit.
said it's 50?
And
damn.
a very interesting piece of information.
That's just fucking crazy. 1 to 2%, bro? What in the world? That's like North Korean wages. Like, legitimately. I don't actually know North Korean wages, but that sounds like North Korean wages.
That people brought up is that in December of 2022, Mista Rios had a slip of the tongue revealing that talent only gets 1% of merch sales, and other reports stating that it was a whole 2%.
Yeah, I remember,
this
I know.
serves to showcase that Nijisanji doesn't just harass and bully their talent directly, they also financially fuck them. That is downright criminal. Only giving 1 or 2%, if they're feeling gracious enough, of merch sales to the talent is mind-boggling. And I saw a couple people defending this. And let me just go ahead and take you in real quick, because it looks like you blew in from Stupidville. That is unacceptable. Yes, the VTubers here don't actually own their avatar or anything. That does belong to Nijisanji, and they signed the contract and agreed to that. But without them, that merch doesn't move. They are still the sole force for why that merch sells in the first place, thus should be compensated fairly. If they don't make that tweet about the merch being available. If they don't talk about it on stream, 0 people buy it.
True.
And to only give them a 1 or at most 2% cut of that is just laughably pathetic and it's just depraved, really. And this also led to a meme that you've probably seen if you've been keeping up with it, about how Niji Sanji's CEO was too busy on his yacht that he built on the back of his talent through exploiting them financially. It comes from this information, where apparently the CEO had flexed that he had a yacht that he had recently purchased or something. I didn't look into that too deeply, but I keep seeing that pop up everywhere with people citing different sources for it. I believe that that's probably something that happened because they are legitimately just exploiting their talent here. This is a completely unacceptable split. Under no circumstances should this be allowed. That is crazy. And what's even crazier is I know they're not the only ones that do that to their talent. In the VTuber space, I have seen some very unfair deals. Now, not this bad. I will say this is exceptional.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But I wasn't surprised to learn
There's
that.
no way there's other people with 1 to 2%, bro.
98% of merch sales, because these VTuber agencies look for every possible way, at least the contracts I've seen from some of them, to squeeze every dime possible out of that talent while not letting them get the lion's share most of the time. I'm having to tiptoe around this a little bit because I don't want to get in any hot water with it.
This shit reminds me of the first agency that approached me for joining them, right? Talent agency, just for like streaming, and they fucking wanted 35% cut on all fucking sponsorships. I'm like, what? That I would have gone through with that shit, bro, if I didn't hear from other people how fucking awful that shit was. Like, what? Huh? Like, just for a reference here, chat. My current agency only takes 15%. Yep, it's 15%, which is like the industry average, right? That's not leaks. That's not leaks, right? That's not leaks. And the 15% is pretty much the industry average for talent agencies, bro. Fucking 30, anything above 30% is just fucking predatory. Like, what in the world, bro? Bro, can you please make sure if you can't even disclose this info, you dumb potato? Yes, you can. What do you mean?
It fucking sucks. That is awful. Now back to the Weeb Shitter archives here. Weeb Shitter then talks about what happened last night.
For a second there, I thought Charlie was fucking flaming this guy, but I forgot that's his name.
Is what I want to talk about as well. So, the clip that he is referring to is Doki Bird was streaming. She has now come back to streaming, trying to, just have a good time with her community again, and things are going extremely well. She went from 10,000 subs to now over 500,000 subscribers. Her first stream back had over 100k concurrent. Absolutely fucking crushing it. And last night during her stream, which was her first gaming stream since being back, she had to end it early because fellow livers Alira Pandora, who'd been quiet since the announcement of Selen's termination, started a stream at the same time called A Message from Niji Sanji. And during the stream, she was joined by other Niji Sanji VTubers, Ike Eveland and Vox Akuma. Both of them were thought to be friends of Selen, or Doki Bird. And they read a totally not scripted message expressing how sad and betrayed they felt that Selen had given out personal information like real names and other required information about livers in her legal document that she...
No, so like there's a couple outcomes. Like if I was Doctor Strange and I could see all the outcomes of this situation, how they could wrap out, right? Turn out, right? There are a couple situations that like this could be, right? There's one where this is probably the least likely, where Selen has just been lying the whole time and, fucking hoodwinked everybody. Probably the least likely, right? There's another scenario where Vox, fucking Alira, and I forgot the last one. Who's the third one who was on the stream? Who's the third person that was there with Alira and Vox? Ike, right? There's a scenario where all three of them were pretty much shown just enough by Niji Sanji to make it look like Selen was going after them, to turn them against her, and then Niji Sanji are using them and basically weaponizing them, right? That could be a scenario, right? There's also a scenario where all three of them just had a gun to their head and were forced to read a scripted message, and they don't actually think anything that they actually said, right? It's just like, holy shit, bro. There's so many outcomes to this that, like, no one fucking knows what might happen next, right? It's actually crazy, right? But Zion and Mista also have slipped up against Niji. I mean, exactly, right? This is why I'm saying the Selen lying to everybody is probably the least fucking likely conclusion, right? I think that shit's like probably the fucking 1% chance scenario, right? Pretty fucking impossible because, like I said yesterday, right? Once you see so many people for some reason leaving the fucking agency, it starts less being about the people being the problem, but more so the fucking system and the company being the problem, right? So it's more believable that Selen's scenario is like true, whereas like everybody, like, you know, these guys are probably either being weaponized by the company or being forced to say these things, you know? Any Color CEO had a new apology video? Okay, bro.
She sent over to Niji Sanji, and some of them stating that they had thoroughly read through it, as well as presenting Discord snippets between Selen and management, when it was presented by them thinking that it would absolve them. Now, I truly believe that Niji Sanji forced them to make this video. I think that they were 100%
That's what I think too.
pressured into making this statement. I don't think the VTuber...
That's what I think too, because as I understand it, right, I think Vox and Selen are pretty close, no? Right? Or at least what people perceive them to be close, right? Obviously, we don't actually know their relationship behind closed doors, but like, as I understand it, they were close. So it seems just so out of pocket for them to just flip a 180. And I mean, it just seems very clear that it probably was the fucking company with a gun to their head, you know? But why Vox sounded like he was laughing? Vox definitely did not sound like he was laughing. I don't know what video you watched yesterday. We watched that shit like as it came out. He did not sound like he was laughing. No, he didn't sound like he was laughing. He sounded more like, I will say he sounded the most sure of what he was saying. He was the most confident sounding. I will say Alira and Ike both sounded extremely shaky, extremely like weak, right? Whereas Vox sounded very, very like confident. All right, that's the only thing I could go off of the voice, but he did laugh. He did. I don't remember the laugh, but maybe you could give me a timestamp. But I will say Vox definitely sounded the most confident out of the three. You know,
chose this, nor do I think they really believe what they were saying, because you'd have to be on some goddamn idiot juice to think that that was a good idea. Obviously, this is just inviting everyone in the community to throw tomatoes at you.
Like, I don't understand what Niji were thinking. All they had to do was post the fucking CEO apology video. Why did they go on to Alira's channel and have them do all this? It just makes no sense. Like, what did they gain by doing this? It makes zero sense. All you had to do was the CEO apology video. And it probably would have gone over fine. Everybody would have just continued living, and then Selen's lawsuit against Any Color would have... Like, the only reason I could ever see them doing this stream on Alira's stream is only to try to fucking get some more shit for the court case, right? In some way. I don't fucking know, you know? Maybe shake up Selen a little, you know? Make her worried, you know? Get her scared or something like that, you know? Like, that's the only reason I could see why they'd fucking do this, you know? There's literally nothing Niji has to gain outside of maybe court material for this. I don't know. Making stuff for the court case is most likely why they did it. Yeah, exactly. I don't see any other reason why they do this. They literally gain nothing in terms of public response, right? I don't think, if anything, sure, the people who are already going to support Niji Sanji are still supporting Niji Sanji, right? That wasn't going to change. But, like, this only made the people who hate Niji Sanji hate it even more. So, like, they definitely did not gain anything from it, you know?
And scream, boo, boo, you stink. Like, it is a terrible statement from them, and it
worked last time, and they thought it'd work again.
Big problem here, one that Doki Bird also had to call attention to, is that it seems Niji Sanji seemingly shared confidential information.
Oh my god. Okay, so it was on Alira's. In response on X, Doki Bird, formerly known as, I've never seen FKA. Holy shit, that That took me a second to recognize what that meant. Selen Totsky says that the only ones that was supposed supposed to have, okay, weird wording, to have access to the legal document was her lawyers, and any color legal team. By giving access to the private document to other parties, any color may be in violation of PIPDA, Personal Information Protection and Electronic Documents Act. Is a Canadian law relating to data privacy.
These parties that are unrelated to the issues, which could potentially include her medical information, which is fucking illegal. You can't do that. You can't just share this personal.
He's not going to go over it off stream. Yes, I am. I'm invested into this shit.
Sensitive medical information.
I'm invested into VTuber stuff.
That's a highly illegal thing to do. Meanwhile, goofballs at fucking Niji
Miko, we already saw that.
Real loosey-goosey with Doki Bird's information. Confidential information, it seems. So I'll go ahead and play the clip from Doki Bird when she learned about all of this.
Despite everything that has happened, I was very sad to find out a personal document that was only shown between 3 different parties.
Bro, I love this clip because it's like this is literally watching someone who's in an ongoing lawsuit try to say everything they can say without compromising their lawsuit. No. That's the reason why I love it, because like she's like, you can tell she's being so careful with her words here because she knows she can't say certain things, you know?
Had to be leaked out.
And the stress and the added stress of knowing that this other stream is going on at this exact time. It's like, holy fuck. She sounds like breathing hard in panic. Yeah, obviously, because it's like she said, she wanted to put it all behind her and let the lawsuit happen in the background. But now it's like, holy shit, it's a whole nother thing, right? Like the anxiety must be fucking insane. On top of that, there's probably her, like, she probably messaged her lawyer, like, what can I say? What's going on? You know, and the lawyer might be like, you know, on the other screen, like trying to tell her what she can say or not.
Made for my lawyer, and it was a document that was not supposed to be shown anywhere
Exactly.
else,
She needs to be extremely careful.
But to me and my lawyer.
And this is why I think the fucking video that they did on Alira's channel was a fucking weapon for court use. Because they knew that Doki Bird, because the timing. Because it's very clear that the Alira video was pre-recorded, right? And I think they just waited for Doki Bird to be live and then to upload that, get her reaction, and then if she slips up and says something wrong, that could be used in court, you know? So it's like, it's kind of shady. It's shady shit.
To the lawyers on the other side, and we were promised it was not to be shown anywhere else.
I mean, DMU, like, it is possible. That's why I did put that scenario, that there is a very good possibility that Selen somehow planned all this. You know, sure. But it just seems very unlikely considering there's such a string of people constantly graduating and all having the same issues with Niji Sanji, you know? Like, it can't be all a coincidence, right?
Because that's how the process is supposed to work in a fucking
a good possibility. Did I misword it? You know what I mean, you know?
Battle where you're not sharing confidential information with others unrelated to the fucking legal battle taking place. But I guess Niji Sanji, being the goobers they are, for some reason tried to weaponize that information by giving it to Selen's friends, and most likely, I'll say there's a high chance, forcing them to make that video a message from Niji Sanji, which is a terrible video.
Yeah, Magi, definitely.
That I don't think they wanted
that
to
could
make
be a possibility
because they have
as well.
To have known it'd be a disaster for them on a personal level. Like their careers are definitely taking a hit because of that. Like, and I feel like they'd know that for sure. But I feel like Niji Sanji was trying to strong arm them into doing it, because from the sound of things, it looks like anyone that signs with Niji Sanji is basically just their fucking hostage for the entire time with the agency. Doki Bird went on Twitter to once again say that it was never supposed to be shown to anyone other than me, the lawyer, and any other relevant lawyers. It was a private document with personal information, and then expressed concern, wondering if her medical and hospital records were also released without her consent, since that was also promised to be kept private. She says she's currently talking to her lawyer, and thankfully only her diagnosis and reason for hospital stay was reported without further private info being disclosed. So that's currently where everything's at right now. And Niji Sanji is bleeding out. So much so that
even then, I feel like if she did not give permission for her diagnosis and reason of her hospital stay to be shared, I feel like that might still be in fucking line with HIPAA violation. But I mean, obviously don't know what their agreement was between the lawyers, so
was reported without further private info being disclosed. So that's currently where everything's at right now. And Niji Sanji is bleeding out. So much so that the CEO made his own little YouTuber apology video, which is trash. I was going to play you clips from his apology video, but with Niji Sanji, you never really know what stupid shit they're going to do, so I didn't want to risk getting a strike on it for covering it. So instead, I'll just go ahead and refer to the article here. One of the main things that he apologizes for off rip is that after announcing the termination of Selen, there was a notice that was published saying that the impact this would have on the company's performance would be negligible. And he says that this was a misunderstanding and they used inconsiderate word choice.
Bro, this is why I sent my fucking tweet, right? Because, like, thinking about it, how is it that you see your entire fan community, your, VTuber community all burning down, and the first thing you address is the investor notice? Like, bro, huh? Like, you see your entire community, all your livers are losing fucking tens of thousands of fucking subscribers. Everything's going downhill, and you're like, investors, please, please. It's not that bad. Like, bro, what? Holy shit. Have, like, a little bit of fucking decency and just look in the mirror for a second. Like, yes, investors are the most important for a businessman, but you can address the investors at the end of the video, bro. They don't need to be at the beginning. Trust me. Investors would have watched all the way anyways, you know?
Recognizes that Selen was integral to
the message is for the investors, not you, little bro. I mean, if this entire message was for investors and not us as the community, then why the fuck was it longer than the first minute? You know, it was clearly meant for everybody, right? But he chose to address the investors first, right? That is an active choice that he made, you know? The investor message or talking about is the one from before the video, I think. Oh, are they talking about another video? I'm talking about this video.
Of Niji Sanji English branch. And really the whole thing more just seems like a statement to investors, like on a business side of things, as opposed to like a legitimate apology for anything that happened. To me, it comes across as super corpo, soulless suit speak, like, yeah, we terminated Selen, whatever, that's well, who cares? What really matters is the investors not losing faith. So we'll make this video to try and regain that investor faith, so we can keep raking in those big bucks. He promises like very vague things about change is coming, we need better systems in place that we're working towards this and that, but none of it really comes across as sincere, especially considering that if you really wanted to make a good faith, like strong stance, like we need to change, start with monetarily. It's now come out that your talent gets fucked financially when it comes to their split on like merch sales and things like that. If you really want to make a good faith, like convincing, compelling argument that you're going to change, start there. I would like to see that because you can easily showcase that one. It's going to be hard to convey to the public that you're changing things behind the scenes because, again, that's behind the scenes. It's always going to be something that the public's never going to be fully privy to. But your merch split with your talent, that is public. If you allow your VTubers to talk about it, they can say, hey, look, we just got raised up a ton of percentage when it comes to our merch split, and we really appreciate that. It's a sign of goodwill, you know, and maybe things will get better in the future elsewhere too. But personally, I don't see them making any meaningful changes to company culture or the way things happen
the
behind
irony.
the doors or anything monetarily. I just don't see them really doing a whole lot to improve.
Oh, the
and
irony.
I think the community feels largely the same way, which is why Niji Sanji continues to fester here. Now, while they haven't
aged like
fully
fine
gone
wine,
under
actually,
or anything of that nature, they are definitely trending in a downward death spiral at the moment, where it seems more graduations are
like
on the
cheese,
way,
yeah.
most likely, or perhaps even terminations.
Shut
for
up,
more
Fries.
talent.
Leave
And
me one more goddamn
the public
LeBron
is not
clip.
super excited about the future of Niji Sanji English branch. Now, the English branch of Niji Sanji is just one component of it. Its biggest is still the Japanese sector. But I have to imagine if the English branch flounders and fails, it's going to be bad for Niji Sanji as a whole because it still was a sizable chunk of their company, and that's going to affect that.
Is it
side of
possible that
things,
they're
too.
doing these
So it's
short-sighted
definitely
appeals to
something that they
investors because they have
wouldn't
a deal
like
to
to
sell
see
their
go
company that
away,
people don't know
I
about?
would imagine.
Who the fuck would
But
buy Niji
it's
Sanji?
looking like it's going towards that direction. So anyway, I just wanted to
I
cover...
could maybe see, like, maybe Hololive, like, wanting to maybe get a full, like, strong arm monopoly stance within VTubing, sure. But, like, they have no need to. They literally have nothing to gain by picking up Niji Sanji's, you know? Like, literally, they have nothing to gain from it, you know? Exactly. Hololive don't want them. All right, it's just unnecessary baggage, right? CEO are voted in by the board of directors, so of course it was an aim at the shareholders, the community ain't shareholders. Yeah, I guess, but like again, that just continues to show how fucking how little he actually cares. Because like if what you're saying is 100% true, which I agree, right? It just means he cares about his fucking position more than the actual community, right? Which again is not any better. it's still shit, you know? By the way, does that CEO is only for EN or for the whole company? This is for the whole company. It's for Any Color Inc. So the whole company.
For this a bit because it is a huge deal.
What are we talking about? We're talking about the Niji Sanji debacle.
Really at a point where it was probably too big to fail is starting to fail. Truly by their own mismanagement, own problems, and own toxicity. And I'm wishing the absolute best for Doki Bird going forward. Hopefully the legal process she's engaged in is smooth and an easy W.
You know what?
And hopefully her streams continue to pop off.
All things considered,
so, best of luck to her. And yeah, that's
their
really about
shares
it.
don't look that awful. You know? I guess within the 5-day, it looks pretty bad. You know? But it definitely seemed to have had worse days. Like, you know, it definitely seems to have had worse days. Right? Like what happened here, bro? Well, whose termination was this? that's basically ground zero right there. Like, goddamn. I obviously think it's definitely gonna be continued to downtrend, but my lord, bro, March 10th, 2023. What happened that day? That was just a recession? Okay, maybe. Jeez. Oh, jeez Louise. Anyways, yeah, I mean, wow. Charlie actually covered that pretty well. Pretty much covered everything. But we shall see. We shall see what the fuck happens in Niji Sanji from here. I kind of do feel a little bad, right? Because there are still some VTubers that I do really like in Niji Sanji, you know, and I don't think they're involved with this at all. But, you know, they're just stuck with this dog shit fucking company, you know? So, maybe more of them will just leave and go join VShojo, right? Hey. Which ones? I don't know, like, I don't know how involved any of these are, but I actually pretty much, I like Rosemi. I mean, on the JP side as well, there are quite a few I like Ars. I like, what's her name? Salome, you know, etc. There's just like a bunch of other VTubers I do like in Niji Sanji, and I don't think they're involved in this at all. It's just they're gonna be hit with like
That was the day Trump
the collateral,
announced to
I
the US
suppose,
that
you
it
know?
was closing due to
Not
COVID and
Salami,
the stock
Salome.
market crashed. Where
just
were you?
disband EN? Well, no, because I don't agree with that, right? Because as much as we're like, oh my god, disband EN, do you really think the way they're treating EN is not the way they're probably treating JP, right? Like, if this is the way they're running their EN branch, there's a very good chance that's how they're running their JP branch. And it's probably just not rebelled against as much because the JP branch is more ingrained in their culture in Japan, right? But which essentially means that these VTubers on the JP side probably just don't know that they should not be treated that way, right? So, I mean, personally, I hope if Ian gets disbanded, I low-key hope. I mean, I obviously don't want it to be disbanded completely. You know, because there's a lot of really talented VTubers on the JP side that I don't want to just see jobless. But, you know, it maybe Ian disbanding will be a fucking clear message. Any color gets a new fucking CEO, and then they change up how they do things, right? Ian didn't even try to market their last 2 waves. Honestly, JP branch is probably even worse. That's what I'm saying, you know?